A lot of people are upset about Waves moving to a subscription model, but if you're actually looking to check out more of Waves plugins that you don't have access to, this could actually be very beneficial to you. Waves Creative Access gives you access to all of the Waves plugins for just $24.99 a month, or you can have access to 110 plugins for $14.99 a month. In order to have access to all of the Waves plugins in the past, you would have to have spent thousands of dollars up front or have a really good torrent link. But if you don't have a really good torrent link and you want to be legitimate in your usage of the Waves plugins, then this is a great route to go, because who has thousands of dollars to spend up front on their music production career? Not many of us. And it's not something that we should be ashamed of or have a problem with, but it is something that we need to think about. Most people who have access to Waves plugins have bought them legitimately or have acquired them illegitimately. If you acquired them illegitimately, then Waves switching over to a subscription model really doesn't affect you anyway, because 9 times out of the 10, you weren't able to do any of the upgrades or updates that they offered in the past anyway. And if you acquired it legitimately and you spent all of the money that you needed to spend to get the Waves plugins that you want, then this just isn't for you. Just continue to use the Waves plugins that you've been using. But if you find yourself seeing a feature that you want in your music production, well, now is the time that we look at the word of the day, which is investment. This is about investing in your music production career. This may be overkill for some people to have access to all Waves plugins. We're talking about over 220 industry leading plugins. That just might be overkill for some people. That might be way too many plugins that you actually need. You might be better off just going with the Waves Essential. For $14.99, you have access to some really great plugins. But the issue is whether or not you're ready to actually invest in your music production career. Now let's think about this. For example, let's say that with all of the subscription services that you're using to create your music production, that it costs you about $100 per month. For $100 per month, you are able to create your best music with the best sounds and some of the best plugins. Speaking of which, if you sign up now, you get 2 free months of Splice. That is an added bonus that will surely entice some users to switch over to the Waves Creative Access. If that is the case and you cannot afford the $100 per month, in other words, you are not generating $100 per month with your music production, I think you have a bigger problem about your music production than whether or not you're paying for your software in order to create your music. It sounds like you might have a problem with marketing. You might have a problem with quality. You might have a problem with output. You might have a problem with website. You might have a problem with search engine optimization. If you're not able to generate at least $100 in what you are doing in order for you to be able to at least, the very least, pay for the subscription services that you're using to create your music, then that is where the problem lies. Could you find a way to get these plugins for totally free? Borrow them from a friend, borrow them from a torrent, borrow them? Absolutely. You absolutely could find a way in order for you to get these plugins. That is not really the issue. The issue is whether or not you're willing to invest in yourself and invest in your craft. For somebody like me who's very new to using Waves plugins, I think that this is great because the barrier to entry has been lowered because of the actual subscription model. You're paying less for access to all of the plugins, and so because of that, the barrier to entry for you to get really good plugins has been lowered. And so that's really good for new people and for neophytes that are in the game. Now, for people that have been using the plugins for a long time, spent the money that they've spent on the plugins, then I can see why that might be an issue for them, because now you're not going to be able to get those updates over time. But if you switch over to this subscription model, then you will get the updates over time. But it really is just about whether or not you're willing to make that investment and whether or not you will be missing out on something if you don't get the subscription model. If you don't get the Waves Creative Access, will you actually be losing out on anything from your music production? It really just depends on you. It depends on what is in your music library. As we move further and further into the future, you're going to see more and more music production companies, more and more software in general, moving to a subscription model. For them on the business side, it just makes sense. They're creating something that can be continually shared, that can be continually used, and the one-time purchase fee is not helping their business to grow and be able to generate more products products that we love and that we want to use. So for the business side, it just makes sense for them to move to a subscription model, because how are they going to actually make money if the thing that we are using to make beats and the things that we are using, the software that we're using, can be perpetually used over and over again, and we often share it with one another, share it between studios, and of course the illegitimate ways that people get access to the software just means that this kind of thing is going to help with security, it's going to help with their bottom line, and it's going to help the companies continue to grow and be able to create more products and create better products for you and for I. So what do you guys think? Do you think that Waves is making a mistake by moving to the subscription model, or is this like the best thing that has happened for music producers who are trying to get access to those really great plugins? I'm going to be checking out these plugins in depth in the future video, because I am going to be signing up for the Waves Creative Access. You guys let me know if you are down below in the comments. If you like this video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. My name is Chris Reed. Until next time, peace.